guys, today on another episode of oh my god, it is so damn cold outside, we're working inside, or Mr. Hollow Point is here to mess something up again. With that being said, yes, it is -9 this morning, so we're gonna fart around in the basement. Today what I want to do, and this is just me, not approved by the company or anything like that, is I got the Hatsan Pile Driver 50, which had a great sale over the Christmas holidays. Super low price with a compressor. So I picked up another 50. That gives me all three calibers now, or like that, all three. So I got the 45, the 510, 50, and the 62, which I love that 62. It's just, I love big monsters. But what I found out playing around earlier is this little rinky-dinky bottle, you know, you only get 3 shots out of. It is the same as bigger bottles. So I've already done this on the 62, so now I'm going to do it on the 50 and the 45 later on. If you go to the AliExpress or Alibaba, AliExpress is easier to deal with because that's more or less just checkout. They have got a 700cc bottle and a brand new 800cc bottle. Okay, these are Tuxtings. Price varies, you know, and it may take 2 months to get here from, you know, from Wangtown. But I've already replaced these before. They're 4,500 psi working pressure. Same bottles you see on other air rifles, so I know they're okay. And we're going to replace. And based on price, you know, you're only 100cc different. You may want to get these average 125 to 150. These 150, 180, I guess, depending upon, you know, what's in stock, how many. You just got to browse around and keep your eyes open. So we are going to replace the little factory cc bottle with the big bottle. Okay. And now a lot of guys are thinking, oh, is that going to give me more shots? Yes and no. It's not that, you know, I'm looking to get 8 or 10 shots out of this, because the way the hammer and spring and transfer port and everything is, you're using kind of the same amount of air each time you pull the trigger. What I'm looking to do, is I've discovered through all my testing, is if you have more air, then you can even your shots out. So if I'm using, let's say, 700 psi per shot, I'm going to use 700 of the same volume on each shot. So yeah, instead of being a 3 shot, I think I had the 62, I think I had 4 good shots out of that, versus 2 good and a 3rd backup. But the idea is getting your shot count, or your spread, your speeds closer together. Because what people don't understand, it's not how much pressure. Everyone thinks a 4,500 psi bottle is so much better than a 3,600. It's not that. It's how the gun is regulated. If you think of air like water, think how many ounces am I putting behind this bullet each time I pull the trigger? And with a smaller bottle, you're going to use more ounces on the first shot, a little less on the second, a little less on the third. The other thing that people don't understand is under higher pressure, that let's say you're using 7 ounces of air, I'm just making these figures up, guys, it's each time you pull the trigger, it's coming out under 4,500 psi. So that first shot's going to be faster than the second shot, because now you've used 7 ounces of air, or 700 psi, whatever you want to call it. So the second shot, that unit of air is going to come out under less pressure, so it's going to be a little bit slower. That's why guys don't understand. A lot of new guys are like, well, if I'm only using 100 psi per shot, let's say for example on a like a Texan 308 or something, I'm only using 100 psi per shot, or the Benjamin Bulldog. How come I just can't get, if I'm putting 3,000 in it, how come I can't get 30 shots? Oh, it's because you need a certain amount of air pressure to use that 100 psi to push that bullet. If you always think if your bullet is a cork in a champagne bottle, it needs to be able to build pressure behind the bullet. You need resistance. As that bullet moves, your valve closes, and it's completed cycles that pushes it down the barrel. I know it's a lot of stuff. It's like tuning a chainsaw for, you know, rich or however. But anyways, I'm not getting into semantics. I'm getting into changing this little suppository for the big suppository. Okay, and that's what we're going to do today. So it's a super simple thing, and we'll go through that and some of the things you have to watch out for. But this is, you know, I fart around more with the guns in this cold weather because even though you can go outside and shoot at -10, I'm not going to enjoy myself. It's hell on the camera and the batteries. So this type of stuff, it's more indoor until, you know, January, February, probably the beginning of March. So, anyways, this is what we're doing today, guys. Hatsan Pile Driver. I am not paid to do this. This is all out of my own pocket. So I just like having more air available to get my shots better. So if we could get a, well, it'd be an awful long bottle to go up to here, but that'd give us a lot of good shots on this. Yet again, too, a lot of this is based on weight. Manufacturers keep things somewhat simple, and of course a shorter bottle is going to be cheaper than a longer bottle. So we'll get some screwdrivers and things together, and we'll start farting around. So the first thing you got to do, guys, is you got to get the air out. You got to degas it. Now the nice thing about the pile driver is right there on the back side of your gauge, there's a degassing screw. So you just get your screwdriver in there and you loosen it, and I've already done it, but you just loosen it a little bit, it'll start hissing, you know, it'll start hissing, and when that baby's down to 0, you're good to go. Now the other thing you need to remove the rifle from the stock is you've got a big Allen screw here, and you got your other Allen screw here, which, you know, you got to go, you need a long Allen wrench to go down, you know, because you got to go through this area into here. Once you get those two removed, then you just kind of wrestle it back and forth, up and out, and we'll do that here in a sec. Okay, so I got my Allen wrench here. I actually don't know what the size is because it's not printed on it, or if it is, I taped over. All right, so we're going to undo this fella here in the front. It's not really hard, guys. You know me, I don't like doing anything mechanical because I usually break things. Okay, that's a little one in the front, and like I said, in the back we got a long one. So what we'll do here, on it. Use that as a little wrench. Now we'll take this one out. Okay, not a lot of threads holding that in. Okay. That one doesn't really fall out, but I'm not that concerned about it. Because as long as it's there, you know, we're good. We're not losing anything. All right, so now, sometimes it can be a little easier if you remove the cheek pad, or at least move it up out of your way. And there it is. And the reason it doesn't come straight up and out is you've got this brace in the back that goes to the back of the rifle. It helps with this to recoil. So it's not just the two screws that are holding your setup in. All right, and this is cockeyed. This is supposed to be at an angle. That's your trigger housing. And then we've got a small set screw here that we got to deal with. So this just needs to be loosened up. It doesn't really, this is your front bottle clamp. That little fella out. Put these together so I don't lose them. So now what we're going to have to do is, if you see this area here, okay, so the bottle screws into this. There's a round piece here with a flat spot. The bottle screws into this. This little piece, I guess you'd call it an adapter, screws into this breech block. Now this breech block screws into your, I guess you'd call that your plenum shaft, or an area that fills with air, because the air comes through here, up, and then behind the bullet. You don't want this turning and twisting, okay? You also want to be careful because you've got your, you know, all your trigger assembly gauge and everything is sitting right here, and this is your dust cover also. And this, you know, goes back as you cock this, it pulls your dust cover back, and you don't want to squash this. So you can either put a big old wrench on this to hold this steady, or if you have a vise, you can possibly set it in a vise. So we'll see what we can do here. Okay, so now I've got this vise. I don't know how well this will work since it's not bolted down, but you can see there's nothing. It's all the same, kind of the same diameter here, and I'm a little far forward, so I'm not squashing the dust cover or anything. So nothing's there. Now this bottle's on here tight. So I had to pick this little bugger up over at Harbor Freight or online, I don't know, Amazon. It was $7 or something. It's basically an oil filter wrench. We've got to kind of struggle there to get it on. So now that it's there, how's this? Oh, is that how it goes? Come on. There we go. So, you know, like I said, remember, you don't want this whole piece turning. Ah, boy, this trigger's got a sharp edge. I just scraped, gouged there and scraped there. Be careful, gentlemen. See, there we go. That should be enough. There we go, see? And this isn't turning. That's what we want. Remember, this is just anyways, how about that local sports team? Boy, those guys are really something. It was amazing when that one fella got hurt, but he sprang right back. I hope they don't trade him. La-da-dee, la-da-da. There we go. Finally got that bugger off. Now we do have an O-ring here, so we want to make sure we, you know, keep our O-ring. To be honest, it's a little stiff, but you know, what the hey? What the hey? All right, let's go get the bottle. Okay, so I always like getting my my jizz juice here. You know me, I always say anything rubbery, a little bit of lubricant goes a long way. Because that's going to go right in there. And then since you're at it, just like when you guys get checked for your prostate exam, make sure you put plenty of lubricant on there. All good for another year. All right. Clean that off before you shake hands with the doctor. That was $15 added on right there from the doc. We're good to go. Okay. This is the 800cc bottle. Now these are also the same bottles that are on the Western Rattler. If you remember, the first Rattlers came with a short bottle. Then after I did my video, I'll take responsibility for that, they came out with the 700cc bottle after a couple of months after I released my video where I swapped out the bottle. Now I may put the 800cc bottle on the Rattler 45. We'll see. No, it's not rocket science, guys. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it. So that's just massively hand tight. Okay, I'm not using this to tighten it back down. I don't think I need to. You know, it's on there super strong. The strength of pure awesome. Okay. Now we're looking at 800 cc's of Go Juice. Now we'll try to put this thing back together. So, remember I said this just kind of slides in and then goes down. It's you have to watch out for your dust cover piece there. It'll kind of be a little wedging up against there. Okay. That seems to be working. Okay, so that's working. That's not sticking or anything. And we'll go back like this. Put our screw back on this fella. And then we'll push this fella back down. I'm just snugging it up. I'm not torquing it down. I want to get both of these in there even. Plastic in the housing's just slightly tight, so there it goes. Snug. Snug that down. Snug that down. That's good to go. We'll tighten up our screw, our bleeder, or degasser, and then put this fella back in. Now, one of the downsides about the pile drivers are, you've got this big free-floating barrel, so, and it's not threaded, so it's hard to get a suppressor, something on there that, and then, with that free-floating barrel, you'll see it in slow-mo. It has a tendency to whip. So because you've got, just like with some of the other rifles, you've got a plastic shroud or guard or stock. You've got metal attached to metal, metal attached to plastic, plastic around. You can see this does flex and move a bit. That's why when I'm shooting these, I'm not laying my hand or leaning hard on it, because it'll flex. You see how it flexes, so you don't want your scope to be moving around. So just be aware of that when you're resting your cheek or you're putting your hand on, that you're not going to be bending and flexing. That'll throw your accuracy off. So there we go, gents. There we go. Now here's another Alley Express item. This is a fill probe that's already got the male fill nipple machined into it. It's a one-piecer. Anytime you've got a gun that requires a fill nipple, buy a couple of spares. So these are like $7 at the Alley Express. They come with some extra O-rings. Just make sure you keep them greased, and that way you've got a spare in your tackle box, versus if you lose the one that came with the rifle, you don't have to worry about it. And these are the 9mm, okay? Remember that, because there's several. You go there, see all sorts of different sizes and shapes for different brand guns. So now I'm slowly putting in. I just put in 1,000 psi. You want to start. You don't just open it up and fill it up right away, because it heats up really quick. And over frozen and heat is what destroys air guns. So I'm slowly filling it up, and I'll get to. I'm at 3,000, and I'm going to stop it here and let it cool down for a few minutes, and then I'll go back to filling it the rest of the way. And the reason I opened it, because I wanted to make sure there was no pressure on the valve stem. So otherwise, if you go to fill your gun and the air is just going down the barrel, you got to cock it. Take the hammer off the valve stem so it can close. You know, it's just basically a nail with a cork at the end of it, you know, in here. So we are there, gentlemen. Like I said, I got a little bit of air in it, letting it cool down, and then I'll fill it up to 45 the rest of the way, or 43. I got it, again, playing with it and shooting it tells me what I'm supposed to be doing with it. I got to look back at the manual on what the fill pressure is. But your chronograph is your best friend. Always remember that. And that's it, gentlemen. We have successfully transplanted more juice. So now I'm going to let the hammer back down. Now all we got to do is get a scope on it and get it sighted in. So there you go, 800 cc volume, or however they put it, 8 liter at point L, 8L. Anyways, so that's it. Mr. Hollow Point says, see you later. I'm going to go put on some long underwear, so I'm going to keep freezing down here. So, I don't know what else to say. Until we do something else. See you later, guys.